Hi, and a very warm welcome back to the UFO war here in Cape Town, South Africa, where we are exploring the multitude of questions that have to arise from my footage. Most importantly of which is the validity of all UFO sightings to date. Those of you who chase down UFOs avidly on the internet because you, like the rest of us, cannot make a penny out of the system because of the way it's rigged. Well, you will probably agree with me that there's been a lot of interference in our day-to-day trade and the way wealth is generated and all that kind of thing, and you'd probably be quite in favor of some kind of idea that the aliens are controlling who's wealthy and who ain't, and who has and who doesn't, and you'd probably be quite in favor of things like that. Unfortunately, it gets worse. We can't trust our scientists by the look of it. Now, whether they've got a UFO in the head and some UFO just flew in there and decided to make them not believe in anything other than what they are taught at those disgusting little universities that their mothers send them to. They're revolting, by the way. Yeah, you can't really make a scientist out of a parrot. I really don't go with that. And no amount of mathematics makes you smarter than the next guy, unfortunately. But yeah, we're one to believe that using big words and jargon terminology makes somebody smarter than the next guy. Well, yeah, I don't know. As for me, I've done a lot of reading. By the time I was in my early teens, I'd read just about the entire science section and was reading a lot of non-fiction science. So I consider myself a sort of lay scientist, more formal these days, because the University of Aerospace is excellent. Now, that wall, there is a thing that moves across that wall. It moves towards the light and then up towards the left-hand side of the roof, sort of middle end of the roof. That is the second time we've caught that particular object on the wall. There, you'll see, go back, you'll see him. It's very small. It's only a couple of centimeters. If you watch all the UFO war videos, you'll see him again. He's in your head and in your house, and we caught him twice. The reason that he's so good is that the camera was only on that wall for maybe a second, and if that's a real bug, well, it's the fastest bug. It's a supersonic, hypersonic bug. Okay. In fact, everything you see in these videos is happening in sub-second time frames. In other words, you're seeing 3 frames, a half a second or a quarter of a second, which I've spaced out into 10 or 20 seconds. That's a factor of several thousand times slower than the actual video. In other words, you're not going to see anything with the naked eye. It always amazes me that I see absolutely nothing while I'm filming it, because I don't have to look at the camera while I'm filming. I can sort of glance at the camera, sort of look at the sky, and I see diddly, dick. In other words, I see nothing. And yeah, that's what everybody else is seeing. But when you come in and you laboriously step each frame of the video, all of a sudden the world gets a hell of a lot more exciting out there. And it seems like the whole idea of alien armadas floating over towns and cities, which several of you might have seen, loads of floating orbs and lights. And if you don't think we're seeing orbs, I just don't include them because of the dirty camera lens. But I get orbs every 30 seconds of footage or so. There's an orb in the footage, which basically is just a very see-through blob about the size of one of those dirt spots on the screen. But yeah, we see lots of orbs. Okay, so yeah, we've got orbs, we've got funny little black things that turn into rods, we've got shiny things that look like bugs. In fact, the feature video for today is a bug that you'll see popping out of the right top end of the screen in one of the clips. And he looks like a bug. The only problem is the size of a tennis ball, and we don't have any tennis ball size silver bugs around the area. Good God knows I'd be calling the entomology department of our local university if we did. But we do, apparently, because that's what the camera says. Now, If you don't trust digital cameras and lenses, well, that's good for you. But for the rest of us who have some faith in the marvelous technology provided to us by Canon cameras and the likes of Fuji and Nikon and various other great manufacturers out there in Japan, I have a lot of faith in the technology, and it's turning out to be a great research tool, because when we go out and shoot those 30 frames per second, and it's never quite 30 frames, more like 6 or 10 frames a second if we're lucky, we're getting all sorts of major anomalies zipping across the sky at speeds too unbelievable to even mention. Doing all sorts of things like flying into solid rock mountains. They've stopped doing that, by the way. In fact, I mentioned that in the last video, that these anomalies, whatever they are, UFOs or flying budgies or whatever the hell you want to call them, they seem to be watching YouTube. What is the world coming to? But they're definitely adaptive. In other words, when I first started making the UFO Wars series, we'd get a lot of formation flying and a lot of very, we like to use the word here, windgat, which means the wind up your ass. Very full of yourself kind of stuff. And what I'm seeing actually is that these, whatever these things are, they're definitely intelligent. They're definitely swarming around my home, and me in particular, but I think they're kind of using the electricity from the homes and doing all sorts of mind control. And really, this little patch that I managed to find myself in is probably a major human farming zone, because sort of the domino effect of influential people and that kind of thing. But yeah, what I can tell you is that this whatever these anomalies are, they're adaptive. They're fighting each other in the sky. They're fighting for control, and they're staying stealthy. So they're keeping the whole war. They're fighting a stealth UFO war right in front of your noses. And I'm now starting to wonder, when is the penny finally going to drop? Okay, there was nothing in that clip, by the way. It was that clip that got in there. There we go, back to the war. So that leaves us with a very interesting question. How do we level the playing field? Can we level the playing field, given that they can fly into your head and change your mind manually? Don't tell me they can't, because I've just filmed them outside my neighbor's house doing supersonic bug shit on the wall, and I can prove that, because I can tell you the scale of each of the thing and exactly how long it took to move so far. And you can't tell me that you can find me some kind of insect that can do that, because we don't have insects like that on the books. Okay, not that I'm a bug expert, but I can tell you now, it goes through the walls, it goes through your head, it goes into your head, and our scientists are now extremely questionable. In fact, a lot of people on some of the conspiracy sites have already worked that out, that science on this planet is dead. It's finished, it's moribund, it's not worth the paper that it's writing, because it took some layperson, some unemployed twat like me, to actually point this out to you, that if you take a digital camera, stick it at the sky, and then step through each frame of your video, you're going to find a whole lot of hokey pokey going on in the sky. I mean, a whole lot of hokey pokey. Okay? And none of it's good for us. In fact, that's the bottom line here. That if it's flying around with anti-gravity and stealth technology in the sky right above your head, well, then your dinner, tasty human burger being farmed right there. Now, if humans have got colossal egos, it turns out this is the subject of today's, how big are the egos of this lot? Because I'm sticking a camera in their face virtually 4 hours a day, and they're not buggering off. They're trying to change, they're trying to upgrade, they're trying to learn how to duck it, how to debunk it, how to do anything to make me go away and people like me go away. And unfortunately, they're losing that war. So there's the colossal ego of our little alien bug friends. They massively don't believe they're going to lose this war. And unfortunately, those little things that they're flying around in, one tiny little EMP or some bad focused radio energy at them, and he's straight in the deck. Him, bug, and all finished and klar. So the message is that they live in glass houses in the sky, and they're annoying the living crap out of the humans, to the point where this particular human is about to open fire in a very big and bad way. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be very difficult to convince me or anybody with a brain that bad shit isn't going on when there's this amount of crap going on in what should be very clear, very beautiful, very pristine sky, and you can't tell me that that is a bird. I'm sorry. I've got thousands of birds on these videos. That ain't flapping no wings, buddy. And it's moving way too